We desire our organization to be a learning organization. And one of the best ways to do that is to try something and then evaluate how it went. So in this short video, I'm going to show you how to look at the report, the metrics that come from a Facebook ad. And we're specifically going to look at the actual results from the Norway ad that we set up. So back in the Facebook Ad Manager page, you can pull up all of your ad campaigns. And here is Norway A, so I'm going to select Norway A. And this is what you'll see when it is pulled up. You'll see the name of your campaign, that it's been completed or in process, what your daily budget was, and the time period that it was run for. And one of the first things that you'll notice are these two big bubbles that make it very easy to quickly ascertain the reach into the audience that you've targeted. And so for Norway, as you might remember, we had targeted about 22,000 people, 22,760 people fit our filters of 18 to 23, living in Norway with an interest of Jesus, the Bible, or Christian. And of those 22,760, the two ads that we ran in Norway reached 11,037. And so that's about half of our audience got to see these ads. And this graph right here is looking at the clicks that happened over the course of the days of the ad. And you can see quickly that most of the clicks and most of the interest happened in the front half of the ad, the first 2 days, and then there was a quick drop off on days 3 and 4. And so what we can learn from that is that we got on these ads at least most of our initial interest and action on the front end. So if you come down to the bottom, this is where I'll walk through a few of the more specific things that happened for these two ads. And like I mentioned up above here, in terms of reach, these two campaigns together reached 13,000 people with a frequency of almost 18. And what that means is the average person who was reached saw one of these two ads 17 times in those 4 days. And that's pretty high compared with Facebook ads run in the US. And so what that's telling us is that a lot of the advertising space in Norway is not full. And so they're repeatedly putting up our ads. There's not a lot of competition. And overall, for the two ads, there were 92 clicks. So out of 13,166 people that saw the ads, 92 decided to click on it. And that's for a click-through rate of 0.04. Now let me ask you a question. Is this good or bad? What do you think, gut level reaction? Is this successful? Is this horrible? Is this average? Well, what we learned is that a click-through rate of 0.04% is exactly average. It's not horrible, it's not spectacular, it's right there in the middle of most Facebook advertisers around the world. And so a click-through rate of 0.01 is considered very poor, 0.02 to 0.03 is below average, 0.04 is average, and then you get up to 0.07 to 9 is above average, and then when you're hitting 0.1 and above, you're really in that optimal spot. So what this told us is, without contextualizing the ad except for picture, an all-English ad, all-English environment, we got an average response. So that was actually exciting to us. We felt like if we in the next chances we put more effort into contextualizing, maybe even translating the languages into their heart language, that we would see this click-through rate increase. And as you'll see here, we spent $52 to get to speak to 13,000 people. Now that sounds like a pretty good return on investment. 4 days, $51, a chance to speak to 13,000 Christians in Norway where we don't have any ministry. Another thing that was pretty exciting and encouraging to us is that there were actually 92 clicks. Now, we can't know exactly what they were thinking when they clicked, but we can guess that that means there are 92 people who are interested in helping students find Jesus or watching God use them. And that's pretty exciting. It should remind us that they're out there, that God is going before us, that God is at work. And we need to have our eyes and hearts wide open. Let's look a little bit more in depth into these two ads. We ran two ads. I showed you how to set up the Help Students Find Jesus ad. And this ad clearly ran much more effectively than the Watch God Use You ad. So you can see the sample ad, what it looked like, the picture, the text, how many were targeted, and how they were targeted. And let me just point out a few things here, that the reach for this ad was almost 13,000. The reach for this ad was 4,400. Now, why are those so different? That Facebook has a way of calculating which ad is being more effective, and it will close down or under promote ads that are not as effective. So they guessed, or they somehow calculated, that Watch God Use You was not being very effective, and so they downgraded it. Whereas this one, they continued to emphasize. And you can see that here where the frequency rate for Help Students Find Jesus was almost double of the Watch God Use You. You can also see the number of clicks. 83 people clicked on the Help Students Find Jesus, whereas only 9 people on the Watch God Use You. That's for a click-through rate of 0.03, which is below average, but this ad was running right at average. So this gave us a lot of information to go back and think about, reflect on, and plan for our next experiment using this Facebook ad channel. Leading with information is important. It's also very, very helpful. It helps us see where we've been, where we're going, and how to move forward more effectively. So some of the things for our second try, our second experiment that we have been talking about changing is the picture. Here we used a single person. What if we used multiple people, like in my example? What if we tried to cast a little bit more of a feel of community rather than individualism? Would that make a difference? What if we change the text in here a little bit? 1 or 2 words different. What if we change the title? One thing that we noticed as we talked about this is Watch God Use You. That sounds kind of passive in English, and it sounds a little bit like you're a tool. And that doesn't necessarily resonate very well with some people. And so what if we change this to where it's more participatory with God instead of just more passive? So information, statistics, measurements help you ask questions, and by answering those questions, you're able to make changes, try again, evaluate again, and keep on moving from there. So I hope that these 2 videos have helped you understand setting up Facebook ads. You'll obviously see it is not difficult at all. And hope that you also can see that this might be one helpful tool among many to increase your reach to the students or people that God has put on your heart. Thanks for watching. As always, you can follow us on Twitter at @VLMLab, or you can find us on the web where you're watching this, www.gcx.org/VLM. And we would love to be in contact with you through any of our Facebook pages or any of the coaches and curators that you see listed on the site.